Yes, ma'am.
Fourth one, this is
Yes, ma'am. If you will
HI.
do the questions and start a new topic.
Yes, Muzammil, what was that?
No, ma'am, you were doing questions and then you said you would start a new topic.
Yeah, yeah. Question number 4, you're adding HI and it's a double bond. So it's a Markovnikov addition you have to follow. That means hydrogen will go to the carbon containing more number of hydrogen. So this is the carbon and this is the carbon. Okay. Here this carbon has got one hydrogen and this carbon no hydrogen, because if you see double bond, third bond is part of the ring and fourth bond is CH3. So there is no hydrogen left on that carbon. Maximum carbon can have 4, right? So here that means it will form, the compound will be like this. CH3 and I, both on the same carbon atom. I'll draw it again. I'll draw it here, okay? The answer will be, you will be getting CH3 and I also on the same carbon atom, hydrogen will go to the other. That you don't need to show because it's breaking of the double bond and adding HI. The hydrogen will go to the carbon containing more hydrogen and iodine will go to the next carbon. So here for this, iodine will be added over here and hydrogen. So it's technically it is like this, 2 hydrogens over there and 1 iodine, which you can draw it like this. Just a cyclohexane member, cyclohexane ring and with iodine. So if you're doing it in the other way like this, CH3 and iodine, then it is a minor product. Iodine getting added to the other carbon. So here Markovnikov's addition to be followed based on the substituent or the number of hydrogen atom on the carbon in double bond. Only this 2 carbon will have changes because that's where you are getting added. The substituent is getting added on those carbon atom.
Ma'am, even for the sixth one, will the double bond break?
Yeah, but sixth one is symmetrical, so you will get bromine on both the carbon. Here also bromine
Okay.
because it's a same thing you will get.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so can we move to the next topic? Please solve it if you're not done. Take your time. Tomorrow, like anyway, it's a synchronous lesson first 4 period. So if you're getting time, please solve it. So next heading you can see preparation of haloarenes, that is aryl halides. Haloarenes are also known as aryl halide. See, both are same thing. Don't get confused. Haloarenes, the other name is aryl halide. So we did discuss the preparation method for haloalkenes, basically from alcohol, hydrocarbon and halogen exchange method, and in that it's a different reagent we explained. Finkelstein reaction and Schwarz reaction, that was the 2 named reaction we discussed. Now we are moving to the preparation of haloarenes. Here there are different method of preparing haloarene. The first one is by electrophilic substitution. Electrophilic substitution means a substitution reaction where an electrophile substitute another electrophile. So first method is halogenation. So you take a benzene aromatic compound, any compound containing benzene ring is falling under aromatic compound, and you are taking X2, that is halogen, it can be chlorine, it can be bromine, etc. And the catalyst is metal iron or chloride of iron, FeCl3 or Fe. This catalyst is very, very important in electrophilic substitution. So based on the substituent already present in the compound, you are getting different product, ortho and para. Why here you are getting ortho and para product, not a meta product? Last year we discussed why we are getting ortho and para product here. Why not a meta product?
Because it's ortho para directing.
Very good. That means CH3 group is the ortho para directing group. Any alkyl group on the branch, on the benzene ring, will direct the next coming group either to ortho position or to the para position. Last year we discussed two different types of like directing groups, ortho para directing groups and meta directing, right? So methyl group is ortho para directing, CH3 is ortho para directing. That is why you are getting ortho and para products. So if it's chlorine, you will get ortho chlorotoluene, and if it's a para product, you will get para chlorotoluene. So this compound benzene with a CH3, its name is toluene. Its common name and IUPAC name is toluene. So in toluene, when you do the chlorination or halogenation, the halogen group will go either to ortho or para position. You cannot prepare a meta halotoluene in this method because CH3, that is the alkyl group, is the ortho para directing group. Yeah. Directing. Ortho para directing group. So this is the first and the easy method of preparing aryl halides, that is haloarenes. You take an organic compound, aromatic compound,
Ma'am,
and you do the halogenation. Yes.
CH3 is ortho para directing group.
Yeah. Which means if a CH3 group is present in a benzene ring, then the next group coming to the ring will either go to ortho position or at the para position. It cannot
It
go
can
to
be
a
either.
meta. Yeah, mix. So you will get a mix of product. You will get both the product. That means you will get not a one product, you are getting more than one product, which is one is an ortho product, other one is a para product. That is why. So in these cases, you have to show both the product because this is as per the organic rule. Like you need to show that it's an ortho para directing group. So once you get these ortho and para product, it's a mix of product. From there, you can separate the products. Ortho and para separated can be separated by simple distillation because they are difference in the melting and boiling point. So if you do distillation, the ortho product and para product will be having different melting and boiling point. Even though they are exactly similar chemical formula, molecular formula same, but their arrangement is different, and due to this arrangement their melting and boiling point is different. That means they are two different compounds only, even though they contain same carbon, number of carbon, hydrogen and halogen, still their orientation is different, means they got different melting point, because of which you can easily separate them.
What's MP full form?
Which one?
MP.
Fe is iron.
No, MP.
MP is Muzammil Khan Patan, right? Melting point. Melting point. Melting point, or it can be a difference in boiling point if they are liquid.
Thank you, ma'am.
Done? Clear? It's an easy method where, but you should be knowing what is the type of substituent already present in the benzene ring. Okay, again a hot question related to what we discussed. This previous method which we discussed using halogenation in presence of Fe or FeCl3 catalyst. For this kind of reaction, using this kind of reaction, you cannot prepare a fluoro compound. Fluoro compounds are not prepared by electrophilic substitution. And if you're doing iodination, then it is done in the presence of an oxidizing agent HNO3 or HiO3. So, what do you think? That means this method, what we discussed, electrophilic substitution, X2 can be either chlorine or bromine. You can't take fluorine. That is the first question. Why? Fluorine or fluoro compounds cannot be prepared by this method. Second question, if you want to do it with iodine, then instead of Fe or FeCl3, you have to use a strong oxidizing agents like HNO3 and HiO4. That means FeCl3 is actually a Lewis acid, it's a weak acid. So weak acids are not enough when you're doing it with iodine. So out of fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, these will work with electrophilic substitution that we've seen. And the catalyst is FeCl3, which is a Lewis acid, which is a weak acid. But with fluorine, this method is not possible. And if you want to do it iodine with iodine, then instead of FeCl3, you have to use HNO3 or HiO3, hydroiodic acid. Yeah. Why? Why it's not working well with fluorine? It's not possible for fluorine substitution. And for iodine, you need to use something strong, more stronger than the FeCl3. What will be the reason? Anybody? Taizir, what do you think? Why it's working well with chlorine and bromine? With fluorine, it's not possible. And for iodine, if you want to do iodination, then you have to use strong acids.
Is it
So there is
something
something
to do with electronegativity?
electronegativity or their position in the periodic table, like the order in the group: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So what is happening to the size of the molecule?
It increases.
Size increases. So what will happen? Electronegativity. Among the list for the halogen, basically you can say electrophilicity. That means the ability to act as an electrophile. Because this method, we discussed that it's an electrophilic substitution. Electrophile is coming and getting attached to the benzene by replacing, see, there was an hydrogen. That hydrogen is what replaced with the X halogen. So it is an electrophile which is coming and attacking a benzene ring. So the ability to act as an electrophile is the main factor deciding the reactivity. So fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, among these four, this is more electronegative, that means more electrophilic. And iodine is the weak electrophile. This is a strong or more stronger electrophile among these halogen, and iodine is the weak. If it is strong, the reason is that it's highly reactive and you cannot control that reaction because it's explosive. So normal condition, you cannot conduct the fluorination because it's a strong electrophile, and being the strong, the reaction will be highly vigorous, very highly reactive. So you cannot do it properly. But when you come to the iodine, it's a weak. So the reactivity will be very low. So weak acids like Lewis acid, like FeCl3, cannot do this reaction. That means you need to use a strong acid or strong oxidizing agents. So the answer for both the question is related. You can see fluorine is more electrophilic and iodine is the least. Therefore, fluorination is highly reactive and iodination is highly unreactive. So being highly exothermic and explosive, the reaction, the fluorination reaction cannot be controlled. That is the reason why we are not using that method, because it's an uncontrollable and it's explosive reaction. But in the case of iodination, the reaction is very weak. You need to use high energy that can be done only using strong oxidizing agent. So just read and write it in your reframe it in your words and write. No need to use this 12 kg and all that kind of explanation. The first thing you need to be very clear as per the position. As it's the method is electrophilic substitution. So the stronger the electrophile, faster the reaction or vigorous the reaction. So among these four halogens, fluorine is the more reactive electrophile and iodine is the least or the weak. So reaction with fluorine will be highly explosive and uncontrollable. But with iodine, it's a weak, if you're using a weak Lewis acid like FeCl3, that was the catalyst we were using. With FeCl3, that reaction is not performing. It's already weak and less reactive. So you need to use a strong acids or strong oxidizing agent like HNO3 or HiO4. That is why the reason why most of the examples what we discuss here will be of chlorine and bromine, because that kind of reactions you can do it. Yeah. So electrophilic substitution is basically for chlorination and bromination. You can do chlorination. Like we took an example, chlorine in presence of FeCl3, and you get two products, ortho product and para product. Similarly, if you do the bromination with bromine, again you will get ortho product and para product. But for fluorine and iodine, for fluorine you cannot not at all do it in the lab or in this method, because the reaction is highly reactive and explosive. And for iodine it's a very less reactive, so you have to use a strong or the better oxidizing agents.
Ma'am, can you show the previous slide?
The question?
Yes, ma'am.
And when they ask the question in an exam, they can combine both of these together. Yeah?
If it was only about fluorine, why fluoro compounds are not prepared by electrophilic substitution, then write only the case of fluorine. Among halogen, fluorine is the highly electronegative and the strong.
They can ask both of them. Yeah,
they can ask both of them or arrange them.
Both of them are related to electrophilic.
Yeah, electrophilic, because the electrophilic substitution, so ability of an electrophile directly influence the reaction. Clear? Here in preparation of haloarenes, you are learning very important named reaction. So electrophilic substitution was the simplest and easy in that. Second one is Sandmeyer's reaction. The next to the third, I think the third named reaction you are learning here after Finkelstein and yesterday what we discussed, one more, no? Schwartz reaction. Finkelstein and Schwartz reaction. Okay, yeah. So third one is Sandmeyer's reaction. This is basically to prepare haloarenes. It has got two different steps. Sandmeyer's reaction. Me? Okay, so Sandmeyer's reaction is actually a two-steps reaction. You can write it down later. First, just pay attention. Understanding is more important. The first step is formation of a diazonium chloride. This reaction actually you can even perform it in the lab as part of the aromatic compound. And the same reaction is repeating in the chapter amines, the fourth organic chapter, because your starting material is an amine. That's why it's very, very important because it's repeated in the different chapters. Here, the first thing is that you need to take an aromatic amine with nitrous acid. Nitrous acid is the formula HNO2. Nitric acid is HNO3, that is mean nitric, IC. Always the one with more oxygen will be having word IC, sulfuric, sulfurous, H2SO4, sulfuric acid, H2SO3, sulfurous acid. Similarly, nitrous OUS is for with the always with less number of oxygen. So here nitric acid is HNO3, so nitrous acid will be HNO2. But the problem of nitrous acid, the HNO2, is that it is highly unstable. The nitrous acid, HNO2, is highly unstable. That means you cannot store it in a bottle. You cannot prepare and keep it in a bottle. So what you can do, you have to prepare that HNO2 inside the reaction mixture, inside that test tube or beaker where you are doing the reaction. In a conical flask, if you are conducting this experiment, inside the reaction mixture, you have to prepare HNO2 because HNO2 is highly reactive. If you keep it prepared, immediately it will decompose and NO2 gas will escape. Yeah, so that means for that only you are using NaNO2 and HCl. NaNO2 and HCl. So you take sodium nitrite and HCl so that you will be preparing HNO2. That is why on the equation they didn't write, instead of writing HNO2, they have written NaNO2 and HX, that means HCl. Take HCl or HBr like that, but more commonly we'll be using HCl. So there are two ways of writing. Either you can directly write HNO2, there is no wrong in that because after all what is produced is HNO2, or you can write they're taking NaNO2 and HCl. So this kind of method where a reagent is not added but prepared along with the other reactants is called in situ reaction. In situ. That means inside the reaction mixture. In situ. That means HNO2 you are not adding as HNO2, but instead HNO2 is prepared by adding the other reagents inside your reaction vessel. So that is one example of in situ reaction. There are many in situ reactions, but this is one example where HNO2 is prepared from NaNO2 and HCl. And also you look at the temperature, 273 to 278. 273 Kelvin means 0 degrees Celsius, right? So almost the temperature should be very, very low. That means mostly in the lab we use ice to cool the temperature below the room temperature. It should be 0 to 4 degrees Celsius. So these two things is highly important. That is why I'm going into the detail and explaining, because if you're not writing the reagent and the temperature correctly, this reaction won't work. If I mix everything but not reduce the temperature to 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, it will not happen. So that is the reason the reagent condition and the temperature both are important. So what is happening here? You have your amine NH2. We'll discuss on Sunday then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sandmix reaction is a two-step. Okay. Atom and couch reaction.